What's up, y'all? This is Tom, and this is Like a Math Class. In this video, we're going to talk about linear equations, and specifically, we're going to talk about the slope-intercept form. Let's get to it. The first thing to recognize is when we talk about the slope-intercept form, the first thing we need is the slope. And the slope is just the relationship between 2 points. It's really the change, which we sometimes call delta, the change in y over the change in x, which means how much have we changed going up or down over how much have we changed going left or right, getting from one point to another point. So how far have we gone up and over, or how far have we gone down and back, right? That's really what the slope is. The intercept is just where the place or the point where the line crosses the x-axis in the coordinate plane. Now, you're not always given this value. Sometimes these 2 points might be floating out in space or out in the xy axis like this, where they're not actually crossing the y-intercept. So, or where they're not actually crossing an x-axis. Or maybe it is over this way, right? Where they're crossing through here. But we don't know exactly where these things are crossing. So, but that is what the intercept is. And just in general, equations is just a mathematical representation relating to variables, and every equation has placeholders that represent those two variables. So sometimes you'll see the variables as x and y if we're talking about the xy axis. Sometimes you might see it as distance and time. They could be lots of different things, but it's two variables to represent, hey, when some time passes, I've moved this distance, or when the x is this, the y is that. So they're just placeholders for any values that we can put in, and then we calculate to get the other value. In the slope-intercept form, these two things here, this y and this x, are the placeholders. This m, this is our slope, and the b is the y-intercept. It's not the x-intercept, it's always the y-intercept. So you have to be careful if you're given points that you know that it's where it's crossing the y and not necessarily where it's crossing the x. So let's take a look at a pretty straightforward example and see how this plays out. So here we've got the equation. Find the equation of a line that has a y-intercept of 1 and a slope of 1/2. Now this is pretty straightforward. This is actually quite elementary for you. All you're doing is dropping in the numbers into the equation. So it's barely even worth the time that you're watching right now. So it's pretty straightforward. We have y as a placeholder equals 1/2, which is our slope, x, which is our other placeholder, and then the y-intercept of 1, so plus 1. And really, that's it. It's really straightforward. Next, we're going to look at finding the equation of the line that passes through these 2 points. But before we do that, I'm going to ask you to give me a thumbs up if you like the video, if it's helping you. And I'd like you to try this using the slope-intercept form, and then catch me in the next video where we actually go through this together. I'll see you there.